Curious as far as your, I know this is a cliche question, price prediction for this year and maybe in the next, by the time the next halving, anything you can share on that front?
I think people in the crypto community are too fixated upon short-term price movement. Like they're studying which way it's going to go every 2 days or every week or every month, and I don't subscribe to that. I don't really think anybody knows. If you told me it was going to go one direction or the other in the next month, it wouldn't change any decision. If you told me 3 months, it wouldn't change a decision. If you told me a year, it wouldn't change my decision. I think that the rational way to think about this is to look out over, if you want to be near term and conventional investor, 4 years, a 200-week moving average. And if you want to be a bit more fundamental investor, then you look out a decade to 2 decades. So when I think about it, I think, what happens in a decade? What happens in 100 years? Between 10 and 100 years, I run all my models, I work backwards, and then I say, what do I think in 4 years? But I never think about 4 weeks, 4 days, 4 hours, even 4 months, right? You could
Yeah.
be wrong
Yeah.
for 4 months, but if you've worked out the fundamental physics of the thing, and you're looking at the bigger issues, then you'll probably be right over 4 years. And so, what is my prediction? My prediction is over time it will go up in price, and I think it'll go up in price because I expect it to demonetize gold and then demonetize negative yielding sovereign debt, then demonetizing low yielding debt, and it'll demonetize other stores of value like bond indexes, stock indexes, Russell 2000 indexes, mutual funds, etc. And obviously, that's 100x more than it is right now.
Yeah.
As for how fast, like it was going up at 1,500% annualized
Yeah.
for a month. Okay, so people are freaked out that
Yeah.
it traces back.
Right.
Oh well, when it traced back, when it crashed, it was only going up 1,000% annualized.
Yeah.
Okay, if it went up 100% annualized, it would destroy every other alternative, right? So the point really is whether it's 1,500% or 1,000% or 100% or 200%, that's going to be a really big deal for people staring at the chart over 1, 2, 4, 8 week time frames. But the only decision you can make, which is a mistake, right, is to be short Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right? Like to sell it and not own it when it goes up again is the one mistake, right? I mean,
Well,
in fact, so if you get up every day and you ask this question, well, should I sell it today?
okay. Yeah.
Well, you're going to ask the question 365
Yeah.
days in a row, and one day you'll make a mistake. If you get up every day and you don't ask the question, are you committed? If you're committed, then why don't you just wait a year and then you can look and see what happened, and maybe it went up and maybe it went down. And after 4 years, if it's down, it's probably not working.
Hmm.
After 4 years, there's something wrong with the thesis. After 1 year, I've actually seen periods where, like with Apple stock, it was clear Apple's going to crush everybody. There's like a 1 year period when you could have bought it and it would be down for the year. Over the past 10 years or 15 years, there was one time you might have made a mistake. There was never a 2 year period or a 3 year period. And over a 4 year period, you could have bought Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Microsoft over 4 years, anytime during this mobile wave era. It's impossible. Bitcoin is going faster than they're
Yeah.
going. And I think the people that are real critics, right, they looked at the blow off top in 2007 and they were using that as a criticism. But even then, right, over 4 years, it turns out that it would have been a mistake to have sold ever,
So
no matter when you bought.
I've heard you say you're never going to sell your Bitcoin. So when
Yeah.
is there any situation that you would find yourself in that you're like, you know what, I'll sell some? or are you like planning to leave it as an inheritance for your family, things like that?
So let me explain on that. Why would you ever sell an asset in an inflationary environment if it's being priced in fiat currency, which is collapsing in value? For example, if I told you that the dollar is going to be printed and it's going to be debased 10% a year, and if you owned a house
Mm-hmm.
and it was a desirable house and you wanted to live there the rest of your life, why would you ever sell the house? Because you know it's going up in price 10% a year. And if the interest rate is 3%, you would just hold the house the rest of your life and just refinance the house. And when you need more money, you would borrow against the house because the house is going up. If you owned a football team and I printed 10% more money, the value of the football team would go up. You're not going to sell the football team. You're going to hold it. And if you need money, you're going to borrow against it. Selling a good asset normally is always a mistake. But Warren Buffett's never sold his assets. He held them forever. John Malone held his assets. Pretty much every billionaire that you know of for the past 100 years, they got that way by never selling anything, right? So the trick is you have to find an asset which is not going to be impaired, right? The reason to sell something is not because you need money. The reason to sell something is because the asset is impaired. And by impaired, I mean like sell the football team because you know no one will ever watch football ever again. Or sell the ranch in California because you know that they're going to pass a 5% a year property tax on California and you need to leave California and no one's going to want to ever go to that ranch. And sell it because it's impaired. If it's not impaired, then as fiat gets printed, the asset is going to go up in value if it's a high quality asset. And if you were to sell it, you would get hit with a capital gains tax, either long term or short term, right?
Yep.
Capital gains tax is likely to go up next year, right? I mean, it's 25 to 50%, depending on where you're living.
Sure.
So you sell something, you're going to pay half of it to the federal government or the state government. You keep the other half, and then you're going to lose the appreciation on the asset. If Bitcoin was going up 20% a year, right, and you sold it, you would lose a 20% return every year for a decade, right? That means selling $1 million of Bitcoin will cost you $10 million in 10 years.
So
you lose the capital appreciation, you pay the tax,
right.
You get $500,000 to spend. Why wouldn't you just borrow $500,000?
So you're saying borrow against your Bitcoin holdings is in a way to earn? Okay, so like kind of like BlockFi. I use BlockFi, lend and earn interest on my Bitcoin and other cryptos.